NVIDIA became the first company in history to surpass a $5 trillion market capitalization on October 29, 2025.
Well, starting tomorrow, work is the rest of your life. That's right. So my first wish, find work that gives you great joy.
Jensen is here, of course, the CEO of NVIDIA. This is the clear winner of every winner in the world of artificial intelligence.
What an amazing year.
His company powers everything from OpenAI, Google's programs.
You are the stars. This is a celebration of your science, of your work, and your innovation.
A company founded in 1993 to make graphics chips for video games is now worth more than the entire GDP of every country on Earth except the United States and China. The question that takes a moment to sit with: how did a chip designed to render explosions in first-person shooters become the most critical piece of hardware in the artificial intelligence revolution? The answer is CUDA, and CUDA is the detail most coverage gets wrong. In 2006, Jensen Huang made a deliberate strategic bet that graphics processing units could be used for general computation, not just rendering images. He invested in developing CUDA, Compute Unified Device Architecture, a programming platform that allowed developers to write code for GPUs the same way they wrote code for CPUs. It was not a side project. It was a decade-long investment in making NVIDIA's hardware programmable for any computationally intensive task. For 15 years, the primary users of CUDA were scientists running physics simulations, researchers doing genomic sequencing, and cryptocurrency miners. Then large language model training arrived, and CUDA was exactly the infrastructure needed. Training an AI model requires running billions of calculations in parallel simultaneously. That is precisely what a graphics card was designed to do. Every major AI model, GPT, Gemini, Claude, Llama, was trained on NVIDIA hardware running CUDA. NVIDIA controls an estimated 90% market share of AI chips used to build the server farms that power AI systems at Microsoft, Meta, Amazon, OpenAI, and other major technology companies. The competitive moat is not the hardware. Any company can design a chip. The moat is CUDA, a software ecosystem 15 years in the making that every AI developer on Earth has built their workflows around. Switching away from NVIDIA does not mean buying a different chip. It means rewriting every piece of software your company has built for the last decade. Apple and Microsoft each sit around $4 trillion in market cap in early 2026, with NVIDIA having pulled ahead to $5 trillion. The fact that reframes everything about how Apple works. Apple does not manufacture a single product. Every iPhone is assembled by Foxconn or Pegatron in China and Vietnam. Every chip inside it is fabricated by TSMC in Taiwan. Every display panel comes from Samsung or LG or BOE. Apple designs the products, writes the software, controls the retail experience, and keeps the margin. The actual physical production is done by other companies. This structure produces the highest revenue per employee of any company at Apple's scale. 150,000 employees generating over $390 billion in annual revenue. That ratio, roughly $2.6 million in revenue per employee, is not achievable by any company that also runs factories. The business model Apple has built is essentially a design and software business that outsources all capital-intensive manufacturing, while keeping the brand premium that justifies the price. The risk that rarely gets discussed. Apple's entire product supply depends on Taiwan remaining geographically accessible. TSMC manufactures every Apple Silicon chip. No TSMC, no iPhone. Every Apple device you own is a bet on geopolitical stability in the Taiwan Strait. Microsoft's current market cap of approximately $3.1 trillion reflects something genuinely unlikely. Run through the list of major technology shifts since 2000. Mobile. Apple and Google won. Microsoft's Windows Phone reached 2% market share and was abandoned. Search. Google has held 90+% of the market for 2 decades. Social media. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Microsoft owns LinkedIn, which is a professional network, not social media in the consumer sense. Streaming. Netflix, Spotify, Apple. Microsoft has no meaningful streaming product. Microsoft missed every one of these markets. They are still one of the 3 most valuable companies on Earth. The reason, while losing in consumer markets, Microsoft quietly became the infrastructure layer that enterprises depend on. Office 365, Azure, Teams, Active Directory, Visual Studio, GitHub. the software that runs inside corporations, not in consumers' pockets, is predominantly Microsoft. Then in 2019, Microsoft made a $1 billion investment in OpenAI that most of the industry dismissed as a curious bet. They followed with a $2 billion investment in 2021 and a $10 billion commitment in 2023, $13 billion total. When GPT-4 demonstrated that large language models had crossed a threshold of genuine usefulness, Microsoft had exclusive rights to integrate OpenAI's models into every product they sell. Copilot in Word, Excel, Teams, Outlook, Azure, GitHub, all powered by the AI company Microsoft had backed before anyone else. The company that was written off in 2013 as an aging enterprise software vendor is now the company that every corporation on Earth will pay to run AI. They won by losing everything that didn't matter and buying what did. Alphabet/Google. Alphabet's market cap sits around $2.1 trillion in early 2026, and the number that contextualizes everything. Approximately 76% of Alphabet's total revenue comes from advertising, search advertising, YouTube advertising, display advertising, Google Maps, Gmail, Chrome, Android. Every one of these products has a primary function and a real function. The primary function is what it does for you. The real function is what it does for Google. It builds a more complete picture of your behavior, your location, your interests, and your relationships, which makes the advertising it sells more precisely targeted and therefore more valuable. The uncomfortable scale. Alphabet committed between $75 billion in capital expenditure for 2025, largely for AI infrastructure, while its core business model has not fundamentally changed since 2004. Google is spending tens of billions to ensure that whatever AI does to search, Google remains the entity that profits from it. The legal situation adds a dimension most coverage underplays. The U.S. Department of Justice found Google had maintained an illegal monopoly in search and search advertising. The remedies phase of that case could require Google to change how it distributes its search engine. The exact distribution advantage that guaranteed it would be the default on every Android phone and every Apple Safari browser. The business model that generated 2 decades of advertising dominance may be the specific thing regulators attempt to dismantle. Amazon. Amazon generated $638 billion in revenue in fiscal year 2024, making it one of the largest companies on Earth by revenue. The thing that changes how you see every Amazon delivery, AWS, Amazon Web Services, represents approximately 17% of Amazon's total revenue, but over 60% of its total operating profit. The online store that ships packages to your house runs at margins thin enough to be effectively break-even in many periods. AWS runs Netflix, Airbnb, NASA, the CIA, a significant portion of the US government's digital infrastructure, and millions of companies worldwide. Those customers generate margins that fund everything else Amazon does: the logistics network, the fulfillment centers, the advertising business, Prime Video. Amazon is a cloud computing company that also has a very large retail operation as a customer acquisition strategy. The retail side is real and enormous. It is funded by the cloud side, which most consumers never interact with and rarely think about. The other fact worth knowing: Amazon's advertising business, selling ad placements inside Amazon search results and across its properties, generated approximately $56 billion in 2024. Amazon is now the 3rd largest advertising company on Earth after Google and Meta. A company you use to buy books is one of the dominant forces in digital advertising. Meta committed $65 billion in capital expenditure for 2025, primarily on AI infrastructure, while simultaneously announcing large-scale workforce reductions. The paradox is real, cutting thousands of employees while spending tens of billions on AI. Meta's core business is unchanged from 2010. It sells advertising against the attention of billions of people. Instagram and Facebook together reach over 3.3 billion people daily. That audience is the asset. The AI spending is an attempt to make that audience more engaged, the advertising more effective, and the products more sticky. The Llama story deserves specific attention because it is genuinely counterintuitive. Meta released Llama, its large language model family, as open source, free for anyone to download, run, modify, and build on. Why would a company spending tens of billions on AI give that AI away? The answer: Meta's business is not selling AI. It is selling advertising. Giving away Llama builds goodwill with the developer community, prevents Meta from falling behind in AI talent. Developers work with Meta's tools and understand them, and ensures that the ecosystem around AI development includes Meta's technology at its foundation. Llama became the most downloaded open-source AI model in the world. Meta gave away the thing competitors were charging for and became more influential in AI than when it was spending $40 billion trying to build a virtual world nobody wanted to live in. Samsung. Samsung is the most structurally unusual company in tech, and it receives the least attention for that fact. Samsung makes the OLED displays inside Apple iPhones, the screens Apple uses to differentiate its premium products. Samsung's memory chips power every major AI data center, including the data centers operated by Google, Microsoft, Amazon, and Meta, the companies that compete with Samsung's consumer electronics division. Samsung's Exynos processors were designed to compete with the chips powering competing phones. Samsung's semiconductor division is one of the largest suppliers of components to Samsung's direct competitors in smartphones, tablets, and laptops. No other company in technology at Samsung's scale simultaneously supplies and competes with its rivals at every level of the product stack. When Apple launches a new iPhone, Samsung's display division celebrates while Samsung's smartphone division competes against it. The internal contradiction is permanent and profitable. Tesla. Tesla's position in this list is unusual because Tesla is not primarily a tech company by revenue. It is primarily a car company. But the architecture of Tesla's business reveals something worth understanding. Every Tesla on the road has 8 cameras running continuously, recording everything in front, behind, and beside the vehicle. Every Tesla transmits driving behavior data, route data, and camera footage back to Tesla's servers. Tesla has accumulated more real-world driving footage than any other company on Earth. Hundreds of billions of miles of data, continuously updated by every car in the fleet. That data is the foundation of full self-driving, Tesla's autonomous driving software. The cars are hardware. The hardware sells to consumers. The consumers fund the data collection. The data collection trains the AI. The AI improves the cars. The improved cars sell to more consumers. Tesla's competitors, Ford, GM, BMW, are making the same physical product. None of them have a comparable data collection network because none of them started building one in 2016. The cars are real. The data advantage is also real. Understanding which one is more valuable long-term is the question Tesla investors are betting on. Why every tech giant is trying to replace NVIDIA, and why none have succeeded. The uncomfortable dependency at the heart of AI development. Google, Microsoft, Meta, and Amazon each spend billions buying NVIDIA chips every quarter while simultaneously building their own chips to replace them. Google has TPUs, Tensor Processing Units, designed specifically for machine learning workloads. Amazon has Trainium, optimized for training, and Inferentia, optimized for running trained models. Microsoft has Maya, co-developed with AMD. Meta has MTIA, Meta Training and Inference Accelerator. Every major tech company has a custom silicon program specifically aimed at reducing NVIDIA dependency. None of them have successfully replaced NVIDIA for frontier model training. The reason is not the chip design, it is CUDA. CUDA is the programming language, the libraries, the tools, and the documentation that every AI researcher in the world has learned to work with. PyTorch, the dominant AI research framework, runs on CUDA. TensorFlow runs on CUDA. Switching to a custom chip means rewriting software, retraining developers, and accepting that the best AI researchers in the world will be less productive on your hardware than on NVIDIA's for years while they adapt. The timeline to build a CUDA equivalent ecosystem from scratch is measured in decades, not years. NVIDIA has a 15-year head start on the software layer. The hardware can be replicated. The ecosystem cannot be replicated quickly. Every company on this list is a NVIDIA customer while also being an NVIDIA competitor. That is the most stable kind of moat in technology. Not technical superiority, but institutional dependency, too costly to abandon. The structure that connects all of them. The 6 largest tech companies generated over $2 trillion in combined revenue in their most recent fiscal years. The pattern that connects every company on this list is ownership. Not of products, but of infrastructure that others depend on. Apple owns the device in your pocket, and the platform every mobile app is built on. Google owns the search behavior of 90% of the internet's users. Amazon owns the cloud that a significant portion of the internet runs on. Meta owns the social graph connecting over 3 billion people. Microsoft owns the software running on 1 billion corporate computers and the AI infrastructure being built on top of it. NVIDIA owns the chips training every AI system that any of these companies is building. None of them compete with each other on the thing that actually makes them valuable. Apple does not compete with Amazon for cloud customers. Google does not compete with Meta for enterprise software. NVIDIA does not compete with any of them. It supplies all of them. The tech industry looks like competition. At the infrastructure layer, it is a set of monopolies on different fundamental resources, none of which the others can easily replicate. Every company on this list was once worth almost nothing. The story of how they were acquired, almost missed, or nearly sold for a fraction of their eventual value, every major tech company that was sold for almost nothing is on screen right now.